Hi, hey, Linda Anderson here from Linda Lou Creates. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm working with color, believe it or not, monochromatic color. So shades of one color, corals, and believe it or not, gray, along with my white. So these cards rather are created with the Prized Peony stamp set and dies. So let's get started and let me show you what all I did. So this one, it's just a fun little background here, which believe it or not, normally I would have used pattern paper. So surprise, surprise, this time it is with using a technique, a direct-to-paper technique with your ink pad, creating this sort of wood grain effect in the background. So let me show you the supplies. Card base is the white, thick, basic white. I love my top folding card, so that means it's 11 by 4 1/4. I have, for the layer down at the bottom layers that I'll be doing the technique on, I have a piece of basic white, 5 by 3 3/4. This is basic gray, 1/8 of an inch bigger. Now, don't worry about these measurements. There will be a tutorial down in the description that you can pick up, and it will have all of the instructions, including the measurements in it. All right, now this layer that I've already put together, the white, is 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. Basic gray, 1/8 of an inch bigger than. Excuse me. So I went ahead and in basic gray ink, I love my sentiments to be bold. So I did go with the darker ink on that. And again, that came from that Prized Peony set. So those two I have already obviously adhered together. On some scrap white. This time though, I did the flower and 3 leaves. This is done with the smoky slate. So I just kind of wanted that to be the lighter shade of gray then. Use the dies, cut them all out. So let's show that technique that's kind of fun, just that direct to paper. So I'm going to use the smoky slate ink pad. Tell you what, I'm going to turn it sideways here. Well, sort of. And so I can show you the technique. So just open up your ink pad. You're going to just have it at an angle and just swipe it down. So just start off the card and swipe it down. The amount of pressure will change, and that's where you get some of those different shades of the streak going on. So obviously I didn't get across all of it, so I will just come around and go ahead and do it again. Now, ooh, I want that a little bit darker. Go ahead. You can go over it again and again and do it until your heart's content, until you really like it. So I'm good with that. Now, these little areas where I feel like I missed, I'm going to kind of come back on that and just kind of highlight and get a little bit more even coverage on that. So let me do that over here. All right. I just felt like because of coming from different directions, I didn't quite get the certain edges. So I just wanted to highlight that. All right. So I'm happy with that. So now we just need to put this card together. It's going to be that quick. So if you don't have a lot of pattern paper or just want to have a fun technique for a change, use that. All right. So let me go ahead and adhere this piece. This is going down to that basic gray, which is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And now I'm going to go ahead and put this down to my card base. Okay, here we go. Top folding cards I love. A lot of my cards, the first layer is this 5 by 3 3/4. So yeah, I kind of am, that's my thing right now. So let me go ahead and put this panel down now. This is the 3 3/4, 2 3/4 white, the gray, 3 7/8 by 2 7/8. Okay, so here we go with that. Now, what I like to do is, when it comes to sort of like the flower arranging, is just pop the flower down where you like it, or where you think you're gonna like it, and then just start tucking underneath the leaves. Because what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna adhere the leaves down with my liquid adhesive, but pop the flower itself up. All right. I like the idea that they extend out beyond this layer here as well. Now, if I really had a big arrangement, what I would do is grab my phone, snap a photo of it, so that whenever I take it apart, I'm like, okay, I remember how this goes. So what I'm gonna do is, I kind of like to leave the big flower where it is. That way I kind of have ideas as far as placement goes for my leaves. So let me just go ahead and tuck this under. And get a little bit on this one. Tuck it under as well. And one more. Can get my fingers to work. There we go. Okay, so I will tuck it kind of under this area with it extending out and over. Okay, now just get some dimensionals on the back of my flower and I will be ready to go. Oops, those two came off together, so you know me, I love my dimensionals, so I'm okay with that. So let's get this one adhered down. And there we go. Now let's just zhuzh it up a little bit with some pearls. I have those here. I've got my Picket tool here, and I'm just going to put in 3 of these of the smaller pearls. So let's go up here with them. And down here. There we go. So card number 1 is done. Grays and white. All right. Let's see the next one. This one I used more of the coral colors. So that, excuse me, means the petal pink. And I used terracotta tile on this. Calypso coral would work as well. I just liked the terracotta tile for the sentiment. It was just a little darker. Like I said, a little bold. Sentiment is my thing. So this beautiful peony, don't you love that? It's big, cuts out beautifully, cuts out all of these inside little things with those peony dies. Love it. That was inked up in petal pink. All right. Now my top folding card is petal pink. And my layers are the same, the 5 by 3 3/4 terracotta tile, an 1/8 of an inch bigger. Now, this measurement might be different for you depending on what sentiment you use. But I actually had a piece of the Peony Garden designer series paper that I just snipped down. This is 5/8 of an inch wide, 3 3/4 of an inch long. Stamped my sentiment from the Prized Peony set. And then just layered it with a piece of terracotta tile. This could easily be substituted with white. You could substitute it with just petal pink cardstock. So don't feel like you have to have that DSP in order to do it. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you noticed here on the sample that I did just a little bit of stamping here. It is not overwhelming like in your face stamping, but it was just a little something that I wanted to do. So I find sometimes I don't always use some of the additional stamps that are in a set. So I'm really trying my hardest to do that. So you always use the main image, the sentiments, but I find I don't always use these little ones. So let's go ahead and do it. So now this is where I'm going to have my sentiment strip. So let me pick it up and just stamp and stamp this one down here. There's no rhyme or reason or measuring or anything that needs to be done. You can allow as much of it to peek out as you want too. If you want to add more, go ahead. I just was happy doing the two. So that was it. That was Petal Pink too that I used as far as the ink. Now we can get to building this card too. So it's really going together quickly. So I know it helps having the supplies already done, but know that you can use whatever you have on hand too. I just wanted to show off this beautiful stamp set and dies, the Peony Garden. So, or Prized Peony. Peony Garden is the designer series paper. So here we go, layering that down to the terracotta tile. And now I have it going down to my card base. All right, I'm going to adhere my sentiment strip next. And like I said, kind of right over that stamping. Whoops. There we go. And this beautiful flower, let me go ahead. I have a bunch of dimensionals. I know. I do love my dimensionals. So there's a lot of them back there. So I am going to get the paper off the back. See how fast I can do this. And there we go. Now to have it sort of this flower grounded, so to speak, I am layering it over top this sentiment strip so that it just looks like that's what it's grounded into, so to speak. So there we go. All right, time for some pearls. So I kind of, I don't know if there's a rhyme and reason, but I usually do a kind of like a medium size one and the smalls. But, do whichever you like. Sometimes the really super big ones, I'm not always a big fan of. They just put too much bulk on. So I like to avoid them if I can. So I kind of picked up too many, wasn't paying attention. So there are my 3 pearls on my coral monochromatic card. So let me bring them back in so I can show them to you. So here it is in the coral and in the gray. So who knew gray could look so nice? I did turn this into a sympathy card. I thought that would be perfect. So yeah. Hey guys, so there's my 2 monochromatic cards. Like I said, don't forget to pick up a tutorial down in the description. And while you're there, please click on the subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. And you can do that. It helps me out. And a thumbs up as well on my video. I have a blog, lindaloucreates.com. There's more projects there as well. So, hey guys, I want to thank you again for joining me today. And I hope you get a chance to get creative. Bye now.